The next shape we're going to learn to forge is a hook. For a hook, you want to start with a piece of metal that you have already drawn out into a point, and then we're going to make some changes to this initially forged form. You need your forge or your torch set up, an anvil, a hammer, and for this particular shape, you will also need a quench bucket or a bucket with water in it. Don't forget your clear safety glasses and your shop safe clothing. So to begin with this, I'm going to heat this metal some distance back from the tip. So I'm going to go about maybe 6-8 inches from the end here, but you can go closer or further depending on how big you want the hook to be. So I'm going to put this into my forge. Remember, we're turning with our fingers. At the same time, we're kind of moving back and forth this way to keep the whole area that we want to forge. I'm looking for it to be cherry red. I'm wearing my clear glasses so that I can see that change. And I just need a little area heated here cherry red. Once I've got it, almost there, I'm going to bring it over to the edge of my anvil here, and I'm just going to wrap it like this to make like a 30-degree angle. I'm going to get it one more time so it's a little more angled, just like this. So now we've got this angle happening here. I'm going to go back to my forge, and I'm going to heat the area towards the tip, just in front of this bend I just made and out towards the tip. That's going to allow me to forge the curve of my hook. So again, I'm rotating it, and I'm also sliding it in and out of the flame so that I'm heating the whole area I want to shape simultaneously. It's a little more difficult once you've shaped your metal and it's not straight anymore to roll it evenly, but you'll get the feel of it with practice. Okay, I'm going to take this over to the horn now, and I'm going to bend it the opposite direction by tapping it against the horn of the 30-degree angle I just made. Bending it around our horn. You can see I'm starting to form a hook shape. Going to heat up that same spot and just a little forward from that spot so I can finish shaping out my hook. Okay, so I get my hook shaped like I want it to be. If I want to have a little decorative kind of counter curve, heat up the spot where I want that to be. And again, I can just shape that against the horn here. The metal is going to want to bend wherever it's hot. So even if I'm tapping at a place slightly off where I want it to be shaped, it's actually going to curve there at the hot spot. So we've got this fairly dangerous looking hook here. Another thing I can do is I can actually wrap this end all the way over so that I close the loop basically. So to do that, I'm going to heat from the spot I want to bend. I'm actually going to heat that same spot that I was forging into an arc. Then take it over to the horn, tap it around so it creates a nice little loop here. Just heating that spot again. Now I'm just going to tap it so it wraps over itself, and then you have a little loop that's got a relatively straight line because we've made that 30-degree bend. It's kind of lined up nicely with the length of metal that we have here. For a little extra flair on your joined loop hook, you can take this little end and actually wrap it around and make a nice little spiraled tail on it. So I'll show you how to do that. For most of the things we've been doing so far, we have had our forging torch neatly set up in a torch holder, but sometimes you'll need to do things directly in a vise or a little bit more organically. You need to be careful hitting this little tail because it is thin metal. We drew it out into a point, so you want to make sure that you heat from the back and let that heat travel down to the tip rather than worrying about hitting that tip itself. Okay, get it nice and cherry red. I turn my torch off and store it over my shoulder. Then I need a pair of needle nose pliers And I'm going to use those and then move this metal around. Just like if you've ever had, well, actually you all had a little wire working, so it's just like the wire working that you did, only on a little bit grander scale. And now we have this really nice, knock this out of our vise here. Be careful not to grab the end that I was just heating, because then I want to burn myself. So now we've got this nice, twisted, very satisfying little form that we could join together with our other big hook and make a nice kinetic element like this. We could join together with some jump rings, all kinds of interesting things that could be done with this this little form here. And because of the way we bent things at a 30-degree angle, even though we have a hook here and a loop here, we still have a straight line that continues between the two of them when we pull them taut, which can be really a nice visual element. So as an addendum to this video, I should note that I forgot to quench the 30-degree angle on the hook before I started shaping the rest of the hook form. That was my bad, I was just in the moment. But normally when we use our quench bucket down here, we only use it after we wrap that metal and get the 30-degree curve before forming something like a hook. We do that because quenching performs what's known as annealing the metal. A-N-N-E-A-L-I-N-G, annealing, and that is aligning all the crystals in the metal structure. The result is that the metal is a lot stronger and less easy to bend, but it's also more brittle, which is why we don't do it more often for our forging in this class. But just be aware if you're making something like a hook where you need to have a bend that goes one direction and then a bend that goes the other direction, quenching it can help keep that bend from undoing itself like it did a little bit during my demo.